Hello everyone and welcome to the Missing Stamps YouTube channel. My name is Terra with Mayhem Crafty Cards and today I am guest designing for Missing Stamps. Now I've laid out all my products that I'm going to be using today and I will be making a side folding A2 card. So the stamp set that I picked out was Boo Sheet. Now I wanted to pick out a stamp set that I could use for more than just one holiday. And a lot of times when you get a stamp set that's maybe Halloween themed or fall themed, you don't think that you could use it for other holidays. So I'm going to show you how to stretch this out to use it for more than just one specific holiday. So, and I did do some prep work ahead of time because I knew I needed some time for some things to dry. So I went ahead and cut out and colored two of the ghosts, and then one I left uncolored so that I could color with you guys. And then I cut out two of these little wine glasses. So that's the stamp set I'm going to be using. The stencil is the hand-drawn hearts. I really like this stencil because the hearts are all different shapes and sizes. It really does look like they're hand-drawn. Now, I'm going to be using some of my Distress Oxides to stencil my background, but I wanted to show you I did use the Simon Hurley paste to make this background, but I'm going to be die cutting out of it. So as you can see that there's a little bit of the clear glitter there, and I just like how shiny it is. So the colors that I picked to coordinate with those are Spun Sugar, Kitsch Flamingo, and Picked Raspberry. So, and then these are the three pastes that I used. I used Unicorn Horn, Tickled Pink, and then Prom Queen. So that one I did do ahead of time just because I knew it was going to take some time to dry. So I'm going to move this out of the way and I will be right back. So I have went ahead and grabbed one of my sticky mats, and I do keep this on my glass board craft mat just because I can use my magnets with it, and it just helps keep my stencils without shifting. So the first one we're going to use, and these do stick, your ink pads do stick to these mats, is Spun Sugar. Now the reason why I chose Spun Sugar is because of the clear glitter that I have at the top, and obviously there's no clear ink good to go along with it. So let me move this out of the way. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to go in and lightly just go over that the top section of it. And I'm going to try to blend that so there's more of an ombre to go with how I use the pastes. So as you can see, Spun Sugar is super light. And I'm just using my blender brush just to go ahead and kind of work that in there. And I am using watercolor paper because I feel like watercolor paper just blends so nicely. Plus, if you want to add splatter, you already have the paper that can hold up to the water. So that is my Spun Sugar. And then my second one will be the Kitsch Flamingo. Now, I'm not changing brushes because these are all in the pink family. And then I'm just going to come down just a little bit. And as you can see, that Kitsch Flamingo is a little bit darker than the Spun Sugar, which is what we're going for because of how the transition is with the paste. So if you are new to Missing Stamps, you really need to check out their website. They have so many unique products, stuff I've never seen before from a craft company, and it's just it's inspiring. It just makes you want to create. And I will make sure everything I use is linked down below. That way you can check it out. And if you like this, make sure you like the video and subscribe. Missing Stamps has some great products and some great designers, and they always have fantastic videos. So now we're going to go in with the Picked Raspberry. And this is going to be our darkest color. Like, I don't mind that it's kind of a little bit wonky. Totally fine with me. So your Picked Raspberry is going to be your darkest oxide that you're using. And this one I am going to lay down a little heavier. I have a tendency of layering or stenciling like a lumberjack. Like, I don't know why my pressure is always a lot, but my arms are always tired after I'm done ink blending. So we're just lightly going to blend that up. And if you struggle with blending, try the watercolor paper because it does really make a difference. The paper always makes a difference in whatever you're doing. So now that I have that ink blended, I'm going to go ahead and remove this stencil and do the big reveal because that's the best part, right? So as you can see, there's my background. Now, what you could do, and this is probably well, I guess I am going to do this, is I'm going to take whatever's left on my brush and go around the edges just to give it a little something so it's not so stark. And it's not going to interfere with any of your other colors just because we're only using what's left on this brush. And as you can see, it did not change my um, sponge sugar at all. So I'm going to lift this up so you guys can see. And then I'm going to show you guys the comparison to the paste. So as you can see, I mean, you get a much deeper result with the paste. But again, I just wanted to have the background ready. So what I'm going to do now is I have these circles, and they're just a layering circle set. And I'm going to cut them out of this paper with the paste on it. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to layer them onto my card base. So I will be right back. So now that I have cut my circles out, and I cut two larger, and then one smaller one, and I went ahead and kind of like laid my ghosts on there to see where I want my placement to be before I start coloring this guy. So I really am happy with how this is coming together. So I'm going to go ahead and leave these two ghosts here, push this to the side, and then we're going to color our little ghosts here. And I'm going to be using just two different shades of blue. Like I said, there's not a lot of coloring that comes with ghosts, so I just wanted them to be more like the candy heart type looking ghosts. So I'm going to just go ahead and color this guy in. And yeah, if you have not checked out Miss Ink Stamps, be sure to check it out. Like, there's so many amazing products there. I was really blown away by how unique everything is. Now, I am not a master colorer. 9 times out of 10, I'm using watercolors, but I have really been liking these alcohol markers lately. So if my stuff looks a little splotchy, I'm sorry. But I'm just now getting back into alcohol markers. So with these ghosts, I just took the lightest color of all my shades and just colored them in. And if you have heard of Missing Stamps, what are some of your favorite products? I have a cartload full of them right now, just waiting. But I do have to say, I cannot wait to also use this stamp set for Halloween. So it's nice to have those versatile products where you might not think about it at the time, but you may be able to create something using a stamp set you would just think that it was only for like a certain holiday, like Halloween or Christmas or, Valentine's Day. Okay, so I laid my lightest color down, and I'm really just going in with this darker color just around the bottom here. And I'm just adding little shadows. Just so it looks like his creases are really like just popping out there. Okay. So I'm going to go back over one more time with that lightest color just to blend everything in. And then I'm going to add some white highlights using my Jelly Roll pen. So like I said, I am not a master colorist. I am just now getting back into alcohol markers. Um, but I'm really enjoying it so far. So don't judge if you... or judge. It's okay. Either way, it's fine. But yes, I usually typically only use watercolor, but I'm really, really liking these new markers I've got. So I'm going to let this guy dry for a minute. Now you can always add, the reason why I kind of been going back towards alcohol markers is because I can add a glitter without it moving any of my pigments. So I'm gonna let this guy dry for a second. I'm gonna come back over here and I'm gonna start gluing down my ghosts. Now I'm going to just glue the circles flat to the paper, but I'm going to pop up my ghosts. I really enjoy popping things up on my cards. It just gives it a little something extra. So I'm going to grab my foam tape and I will be back. So because of how I have my hearts laid out, I kind of tilted these guys at a little bit of an angle. And when I do foam adhesive, I always add, I like to say I'm an over adheser, just because I want my stuff to stick on there. And I'm using some black 2mm foam tape for this project and in my handy dandy little glue press here. And it doesn't have to be pretty. So this guy we are putting up here in this corner. And what's nice about this is that it gives me multiple spots to put sentiments in. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiments out and get them kind of placed on the card, and I will be back to show you where I'm going to place them. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add my sentiment. I did add some thin foam squares, thin foam to the back of it, and I picked Let's Get Sheet Faced. And I'm just going to pop that in the corner there. And then just because not everybody celebrates Valentine's Day, so I thought this would be a fun Valentine's card to send out to, one of your crafty girlfriends or whoever just, brighten their day. So I'm going to put the just because down here in this corner, and now all I have to do is glue to my card base, and I am done with this card. So let me know what you guys think. I've had a fantastic time creating with these products. I hope you'll give some of your other stamp sets a second chance and kind of look at them in a different way. And maybe use them for other things other than just that initial intended purpose. So now that I got that down on my card base, I always like to give it a good extra press. Just because this is watercolor paper and it's just a little bit heavier. So here is my card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and like I said, make sure you subscribe, keep an eye out for missing stamps and what they have to offer. So have a good day, guys. Bye.